Welcome back to the Dungeon Meshi meal ratings. Throughout our journey from meal to meal, we have watched our heroes prepare all sorts of amazing dishes, from holy water ghost ice cream to shiny bugs that invoke the primal human urge to eat shiny rocks. There has been no shortage of incredibly creative monster-sourced meals. But as the series has gone on, we see how the meals have only just scratched the surface of what can be made from monsters. The second core, or should I say, second course, brings a different tone to the series, taking the silly little cooking anime and well... yeah, it really starts to dawn on you the reality of the situation these characters are in, and the meals sort of reflect that. The second core of the anime really brings in the plot and stakes, making for a lot more tense situations, but forget that, we're here for the food. So let's get into it. So just like last time, I'll be reviewing meals based on 3 criteria: presentation, taste, and ingredients, after which I'll give a final grade from S to D. Keep in mind that I'll be going into the second core of the anime, so we are in major spoiler territory now. Also, I just want to thank you guys for the amazing support on the previous video. It was especially exciting finding out that a lot of you really wanted to eat the treasure bugs. Man, I really wish I could get my hands on something like those in my country, but alas. Anyway, let's get cooking. Yes, I made the same pun twice. Adventurer's Rations. This is the basic meal for adventurers, consisting of salted meat, bread, wine, nuts, and dried fruits. It's the go-to meal for adventurers. You can tell that this dish, more than anything, is a meal made with the intention of sustaining adventurers, though I can't help but wonder why wine is there. The meal consists of preserved foods. Since it's designed to be packaged and eaten over the course of an adventure expedition, it's mostly eaten for sustenance, so the taste for most of it is pretty basic. This meal makes use of the most accessible and easy to preserve foods known to man. Since it's all dried and preserved, you can pretty much eat it on the go. It's functionality over anything else. Not a lot to write about, honestly. Now I wonder why I did put it in the first place. Anyway, the Adventurer's Rations gets the final rating of C tier. Jack-o'-lantern pottage and Dryad's flower bud saute with melted cheese. This meal looks goofy as hell. I feel like the face on the Dryad fruit is peering into my very soul, judging me. But that aside, this meal looks perfect for vegetarians. You'd think that it isn't the case considering the main ingredient is Dryad, which are a species that combine plants and humans, but in this series, Dryads are actually humanoid looking plants, though I don't know if most vegetarians will be okay with that. But regardless, it still looks filling. The characters describe the meal as being really sweet with a strong flowery aroma. The meal does make use of mushrooms and mandrake, which would no doubt leave a bitter tang to the food, but I think the sweetness from the Dryad would more than make up for it. Since it's pottage, the texture would be really thick and creamy too, and with the bud saute having cheese to it, this is definitely an extra creamy meal. And as an added bonus, it replenishes mana. The main ingredient is Dryad, which could be hard to deal with because of all the pollen they scatter around. Thankfully, if you know what to expect beforehand, you could probably avoid it. They don't look all that hard to fight, so getting them wouldn't be all that difficult. And since they're technically plants, it isn't far-fetched to think about starting a Dryad farm. The Jack-o'-lantern pottage and Dryad flowers bud saute with melted cheese gets a rating of A tier. Pickled Cockatrice Hock style and Dryad bud sauerkraut style. This dish is pretty straightforward in looks. What it really conveys are how tight of a spot the characters are in, really scrounging around for whatever they can to make a decent meal considering their current predicament. But regardless, they're able to make the most out of their situation and deliver a good looking meal. And it's got bread, so yay! The meal itself doesn't stay too long on screen, so they don't comment much on the taste. But my guess is it's got that tasteful sourness to it, and with the cockatrice looking like a bigger palette swapped basilisk, I'm inclined to believe it tastes the same. That taste being chicken. The dish makes use of the aforementioned Dryads and cockatrice, which have been prepared through fermenting for a couple of days. The only thing to really look out for is the cockatrice because of that nasty petrification curse it's got, but aside from that, I don't see too much trouble acquiring them. Pickled Cockatrice Hock style and Dryad bud sauerkraut style gets a rating of C tier. Stone-baked cockatrice chicken and egg with sauce. This dish looks really attractive, especially with that golden brown egg sauce. However, the fact that it comes in a fucking brick that looks like that really knocks down the aesthetics of the dish. I understand that the bricks aren't exactly normal bricks and it was only done for the sake of experimentation, but in the context of the anime, these were newly formed bricks that weren't yet completely hard, so it's not far off to think that some of the goop from the dungeon cleaners would have found its way into the dish itself. The dish being made up of barley rice with cockatrice meat and egg sauce, you already know it will taste good. The sauce being made from stir-fry vegetables like dryad means it'll get that sweet taste too, and I think the texture of the dishes would really blend well to create good harmony. The real problem comes from the brick itself. Clay plates aren't a problem, lots of places around the world use them, but these were still soft, which would no doubt get little bits into the food. Since they tasted like literal dirt, it throws the whole dish off. I don't know about you guys, but if I tasted dirt from a meal that looked like this, I'd be throwing hands. Made from more stuff we've covered before, there isn't much to comment on the ingredients. The brick itself doesn't seem all that necessary to have along with the meal, so skip it if you can. Stone-baked cockatrice chicken and egg sauce has me conflicted, so I'll leave it at B tier. Memories from the 5th floor Pilaf, 5th floor piccata, and sweet dryad. Shiny, golden brown dishes are always a treat for the eyes. One look at them and you can already see just how filling they look. The 5th floor Pilaf stands out most to me since it's pretty much like fried rice, which I absolutely adore. The sweet dryad snacks as desserts makes the dish even better, especially if you're one of those people that enjoy sweet things after savory meals. A dish that is no doubt seasoned well, even with the limited ingredients the characters had. The pilaf was made with more of that barley grain rice, fried to perfection. Can't forget about the piccata too, which being made from more of that cockatrice meat means it's got more of that juicy chicken taste, so you can't go wrong there. The dish is a good example of the various ways you can prepare rice and chicken. Since it pretty much uses the same ingredients from the last two dishes, the only difference is in the preparation process. This really shows how versatile of a chef Senshi is if he can come up with different ways on the fly. If it were me, we'd be eating the same thing every day, whether you liked it or not. But yeah, this dish is a really solid one that looks really appealing to the eyes and does not slouch with taste. The dryad sweets make it even better. So I give the memories of the 5th floor pilaf, 5th floor piccata, and sweet dryad a rating of S tier. Risotto with mushrooms from a graveyard and cheese from orcs. For a dish that was hastily cobbled together, making the most of the little ingredients they had left, hence lacking a lot of the flavor and typical Senshi flair, it still looks really good. Its bright yellow cheesy look leaves a strong impression, and I'll bet that more than makes up for the lack of diverse flavoring. The dish in terms of flavor might not have a lot to it, but it won't stop it from being good. I mean, just look at the amount of garlic that goes into this dish. Garlic lovers, this one is definitely for you. And thanks to that cheese, you can feel just how gooey and mushy it would feel in your mouth. Just thinking about it has me wanting to try it out for myself. Butter, garlic, rice, mushrooms, seasonings, and cheese are all the things you need to make this dish. This just might be the most easily replicable dish in the series yet. I mean, it is a risotto, which is a real life dish, so I guess that makes sense. I give the risotto with mushrooms from a graveyard and cheese from orcs a rating of B tier. Alright, so the next two dishes don't really have a lot in terms of screen time, so I'll quickly be going over them. First is the steamed nightmare. In this series, nightmares are ostia-like creatures that crawl into pillows and eat the dreams of their victims. They feel more like pests when you think about it. Nightmares are part of the dragon family, so I'm inclined to believe they have a somewhat similar texture to the red dragon. However, their meat is a lot softer. So the steamed nightmare gets a rating of B tier. Next is the ice golem savory egg custard. Chunky egg custard with bits of mushrooms and nightmare in them is definitely a new thing to me. I'm used to having my custard just be milk and sugar, but having chunks of protein in them is odd to say the least. But I feel like it would enhance the taste of the custard. The ice golem savory egg custard receives a rating of A tier. And that's it for the minor dishes. If you've been enjoying the video so far, consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out and that way you will miss out on future content. Okay, on to the next meals. Barometz Baloo or Barometz Chops. So, real talk, up until this anime I had no idea what a Barometz was, so when I saw this I was equally confused and bursting out in laughter. In case you are curious, this is what it looks like. This dish looks really juicy, the Barometz chop looks succulent and the red sauce gives a thick savory vibe which I'm all down for. Since the entire dish is made from the Barometz, it's safe to say that there's a lot of synergy going on with this dish. Despite the fact that the Barometz looks like a sheep, it tastes a lot more like crab, which I am totally down for. Having crabs that come in that quantity, minus the hassle of going through crab shells, is a major win in my book. Since the thick and chunky sauce was made from the fruit of the Barometz, my guess is it's got a slightly sweeter taste to it. The Barometz is a weird one since it's classified as a monster, but it's more like a fruit and grows into a shape that tastes like crab. But since it's a fruit, it's not that far-fetched to think that one could dedicate farms to growing Barometz, but they also attract carnivores and other monsters, so it might seem less than worth it to farm. But I think it's a chance that shouldn't be passed up on. I give the Barometz Chops a rating of A tier. Soul Eggs Benedict. Bread. Add eggs. The unbeatable breakfast combo. This takes it a step further and drenches the bread in all that gooey egg goodness. I love runny eggs, so this is right up my alley, and to make it even better, it's on bread. Need I say more? The bright orange and yellow yolk makes me hungry just looking at it. Any longer and I swear I'll be licking my screen. It's bread. Add eggs. Though I don't think the taste of the eggs might be similar to chicken since these are harpy eggs. And if you've eaten different types of eggs, you know that they don't exactly taste the same, but nonetheless, this will no doubt taste good. Not much to say about these ingredients. The harpy eggs could easily be substituted for normal eggs, so it's something you could pull off anytime. Then there's the bread, the pinnacle of human creation. Enough said on that. I leave the Soul Eggs Benedict with an A tier. Vegetables in slime aspic, beef rib steak, blade fish loaf, and potato and rabbit soup. These meals have so much variety and appeal, it's insane. I'm super glad slime made a comeback in the slime aspect, which makes a lot of sense since, well, it's slime. And the beef ribs, which are actually minotaurs, look juicy as hell. But the crown jewel has to be the blade fish loaf. My strong sense to eat shiny things has once again been appealed to in this food that makes use of even more of the slime. It just looks so cool. Despite the insane variety of foods, unfortunately the characters know that there wasn't really any taste to them, which, given the context behind the meal, sounds reasonable enough, but I still feel like if it was handled by someone like Senshi, these meals would have tasted out of this world. Hell, as someone who tends to over-season his food, I think I could nail this. We've got minotaur beef, slime, bladefish, rice, rabbit, and vegetables. There's quite a variety to them, all of which could be easy to get your hands on, save for the minotaur. We don't get to see the preparation process behind this, which is a shame cause I really love to see the process behind the slime aspect. But if we are following the real world preparations, it should be the same. Strongly recommend swapping out the minotaur meat with something less bipedal since they look like this. Vegetables in slime aspic, beef rib, blade fish loaf, and potato and rabbit soup gets a rating of S tier for me. Sky fish and chips. I don't know what, but like out of all the meals they have prepared so far in the series, this is the one to completely catch me off guard just because of how, should I say, plain the dish feels. Like we've gotten other plain dishes in the series, but this one just feels, I don't know, unremarkable, despite the fact that it was made with a super unique ingredient. Maybe because it's a British thing. What makes this dish unique in its taste is how it turns all of this into this, compressing all the ingredients into one thing, which makes it something of a familiar food wrap. It's pretty cool, and since they deep fry it, it comes out crunchy too. So with every bite you're getting all of this and then some. Cooking a familiar was something I did not see coming, but on the other hand, I think this concept has a lot of potential behind it, Since familiars are technically alive, they could be used as an alternative to preserving food, but then it takes a lot of mana and resources to make them, so you'd be getting diminishing returns. Besides, they don't look all that filling, so it doesn't seem all that worth it. It's a novel concept, yeah, but in the end, you're better off preparing the dishes directly. Sky Fish and Chips is left with a rating of B tier. Griffin soup and Hippogriff soup. For plot related reasons, these two dishes don't have anything to them, just the meat boiled with a bit of salt, so there isn't much to comment. The meats are described as being gamey and tough to chew, like many carnivores, so it's one that'd be kind of annoying to deal with, and the fact that griffins are way more difficult to fight makes it even less enticing. The Griffin and Hippogriff soup gets a D tier, but god damn it they get an S tier in my heart. Boiled Hippogriff dumplings and dumplings transformed by the changeling fairy ring. These are the last two dishes of the season, and they're dumplings. Dumplings that look glossy and juicy. It's the type of food that you put in your mouth and just go while it burns your mouth, only for you to do it again until you're done eating. This is like how the average person eats plantain. The transformed dumplings on the other hand come in all shapes and sizes with their fillings randomized, which could make for a fun eating experience. It's basically dumpling gacha, just hope you don't lose the 50-50 to something you're allergic to. The Hippogriff dumplings use the Hippogriff meat, which is, as stated before, tough and gamey, but since it's diced, it makes for a much tastier experience. The transformed dumplings though are another case, as each one is different inside. One may have cheese, one may be sweet, you never know, but that's what makes them alluring. The Hippogriff dumplings aside, you can't really prepare for the transformed dumplings. The only thing you'll struggle with is to find a changeling circle, which I guess are kind of illegal now. But that aside, I don't think you should strive to make this an actual dish. Sticking to the plain normal dumplings are the way to go. As the final meals of the season, there isn't anything grand to them, but that doesn't stop them from being good in my eyes. So I'm giving the boiled Hippogriff dumplings and dumplings transformed by the changeling fairy ring ratings of B and A tier respectively. And so this video comes to a close. It's been a ton of fun going through all these meals and reviewing them, and it's also been fun reading all your opinions on them in the comments. So just like last time, let me know what your favorite dish was, as well as the ones that put you off. I have absolutely fallen in love with this series and I cannot wait to see how the story progresses, cause it definitely feels like shit is about to get a lot more messed up along the line, and to make things even better, a second season was announced almost immediately. So I'm trying really hard not to froth at the mouth cause of that. So I guess when it does come out, we'll be seeing each other again in another meal ranking video, so maybe hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next one, which, and this is me hoping, will probably be out next year. As always, this has been your very favorite slice of bread. Stay toasty.